Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of Japan. The people are great, the food is amazing, but it's also got a whole bunch of rules that might seem kind of strange to us outsiders. We're talking 10 things you absolutely can't do in Japan. So if you're planning a trip to the land of the rising sun or just curious about different cultures, stick around to find out why these rules exist and what could happen if you break them. First up, let's talk about vaping. In Japan, they're not so keen on it. They've got these super strict health regulations, and vaping falls right under that umbrella. So if you're thinking of puffing on your trusty vape pen on the streets of Tokyo, think again. You could be slapped with a hefty fine or worse. Japan takes its health seriously, and they see vaping as a potential risk. So they're playing it safe and keeping it on a tight leash. If you're heading to Japan, best to leave the vape at home. Okay, so you know how in some places jaywalking is like no big deal, people do it all the time, right? Well, in Japan, it's a whole different story. They take their pedestrian rules very seriously. Think of it like this. In Japan, the crosswalk is your sacred temple. It's the only place where you're allowed to cross the street, and even then you've got to do it with purpose, my friend. No dilly-dallying. You see those lines on the road? Those aren't suggestions, they're the law. And the police? They're watching. One wrong step and bam, you're getting a ticket. They will fine you for jaywalking in Japan. It's all about keeping things orderly and safe. So, when you're in Japan, channel your inner rule follower. Wait for that little green man and walk, don't run across that crosswalk. All right, lovebirds, listen up. If you're planning a romantic getaway to Japan, here's a little tip. Keep the PDA on the down low. Japan is a culture that values privacy and respect, especially in public spaces. So, while a little hand-holding might fly under the radar, anything more than that is going to raise some eyebrows. We're talking full-on make-out sessions, groping, the works. Trust me, you don't want to be those tourists. Instead, why not show your affection in other ways? Like buy your significant other a cute little souvenir or share a delicious bowl of ramen. Those are the kinds of romantic gestures that'll really impress in Japan. And when in Japan, keep the PDA to a minimum. Your fellow travelers will thank you for it. Okay, this one's a no-brainer, but it's worth repeating. Don't litter in Japan. It's not just a rule, it's a way of life here. Seriously, guys, this is like rule number one in the land of the rising sun. The Japanese culture places a high value on cleanliness and order. They take their cleanliness very, very seriously. You'll often see people cleaning the streets even if they don't work for the city. Think of it like this. Japan is like one giant Zen garden. Every corner, every street, every park is meticulously maintained. Everything is pristine, organized, and spotless. It's a collective effort to keep the environment clean and beautiful, and they want to keep it that way. Everyone pitches in, from young children to elderly citizens. So if you're caught littering, even something as small as a candy wrapper, be prepared for the wrath of 1,000 suns. The community will not take it lightly. Okay, maybe not that bad, but you will get fined, and trust me, it's not a small amount. And not just a slap on the wrist kind of fine, we're talking some serious dough. It can really put a dent in your travel budget. Plus, you'll probably get publicly shamed, which, let's be honest, is way worse than any fine. The disapproving looks from locals can be quite intense. You might even get called out by a little old lady with a disapproving stare that could melt steel. It's not something you want to experience, so do yourself a favor and find a trash can. They're usually not too hard to find if you look around, and if you can't find one, hold on to your trash until you do. It's a small effort that goes a long way in respecting the local culture and keeping Japan beautiful. All right, let's talk about public transport in Japan, because it's a whole different ballgame than what you might be used to. Imagine this, you're packed into a train car like a sardine, but instead of the usual cacophony of noise, there's this eerie silence. That's right, my friends. Silence is golden on Japanese public transport. We're talking library levels of quiet here. No loud conversations, no blaring music, no obnoxious phone calls. See, in Japan, they value peace and quiet, especially in crowded spaces. It's all about being considerate of those around you. So, when you're on the train or bus, keep your voice down to a whisper, and for the love of all that is holy, put your phone on silent. And whatever you do, don't even think about blasting your favorite tunes on your phone speaker. So embrace the silence. All right, smokers, listen up. If you're heading to Japan, be prepared to leave your smoking habit at the door. Okay, maybe not completely, but you're going to have to be very, very mindful of where you light up. See, Japan is pretty strict about smoking in public places, and when I say strict, I mean strict. Gone are the days of casually puffing away on the sidewalk or at a bus stop. Nope, in Japan, you can only smoke in designated smoking areas. These smoking areas are usually clearly marked and often look like little glass booths. It keeps the air clean for non-smokers, and it prevents those pesky cigarette butts from ending up on the streets. So if you're craving a nicotine fix, do yourself a favor and find a designated smoking area. And believe me, those grandmas do not mess around. Okay, this one's a biggie, folks. Shoes off when entering homes and certain establishments. It's a practice deeply rooted in Japanese culture and etiquette. In Japan, wearing shoes indoors is a big no-no. The tradition goes back centuries and is still strictly followed today. It's considered disrespectful and unhygienic. The Japanese take great pride in maintaining a clean and serene living environment. Think about it, you've been walking around all day, tracking in dirt, grime, and who knows what else on the soles of your shoes. The streets can be filthy, and you don't want to bring that into a pristine home. Do you really want to bring all that filth into someone's home? I didn't think so. It's not just about dirt, it's about maintaining a sacred space. So when you see a shoe rack or a little step at the entrance of a home, restaurant, or temple, it's your cue to ditch the footwear. This small act shows your respect for the place and its inhabitants. And don't even think about trying to sneak past with your shoes on. It's not worth the risk of offending your hosts. The Japanese are masters of observation, and they will notice. They have a keen eye for detail and will appreciate your effort to follow their customs. But here's the thing. Taking off your shoes isn't just about cleanliness. It's also a sign of respect. It shows that you honor their traditions and value their way of life. So embrace the shoe-free life when you're in Japan. You'll find it not only respectful, but also quite comfortable and liberating. All right, foodies, listen up. While Japan is a culinary paradise with delicious treats around every corner, there's one thing you shouldn't do. Eat while walking. In Japan, it's considered rude to eat on the go. We're so used to grabbing a quick bite on the run, but in Japan, they prefer to savor their food and enjoy it in a designated eating area. Think of it as a sign of respect for the food and for the people around you. They take their cleanliness seriously, and they don't want food debris littering their streets. So the next time you're tempted to grab a snack on the go, do yourself a favor and find a bench, a park, or even just step to the side and finish your food before continuing on your way. Your stomach and the Japanese people will thank you for it. 8. All right, folks, let's talk trash. Because in Japan, garbage is serious business. It's not just about tossing your waste away. It's about doing it the right way. We're not just talking about finding a trash can. We're talking about sorting your garbage like a pro. It's a skill, an art form even. You see, Japan takes recycling to a whole new level. It's a part of their daily routine, ingrained in their culture. They don't just have one bin for everything, no, they have a system that ensures every type of waste is properly disposed of. Oh no, they have separate bins for burnable trash, non-burnable trash, plastic bottles, PET bottles, aluminum cans, glass bottles, and more. And the list goes on. Each type of waste has its own designated bin. Just look for the pictures on the bins, or ask a friendly local for help. The labels are usually clear and easy to understand. They're usually more than happy to guide you in the right direction. It's a community effort after all. And trust me, you don't want to be the one throwing your plastic bottle in the burnable trash bin. It's a big no-no. Remember, in Japan, proper garbage sorting is a sign of respect for the environment and for the community. It's about being mindful and responsible. So channel your inner recycling warrior and sort that trash like a boss. Make it a habit, make it a part of your routine. The planet and the Japanese people will thank you for it. Together we can make a difference, one piece of trash at a time. All right, shutterbugs, listen up. While Japan is a photographer's paradise with stunning scenery and Instagrammable moments around every corner, there are certain places where you need to keep your camera in check. Japan has strict rules about photography in certain areas, and it's important to be aware of them to avoid any awkward encounters or, worse, legal trouble. For starters, some temples and shrines prohibit photography altogether. These sacred spaces are meant for quiet reflection and prayer, and flashing lights and the clicking of shutters can be disruptive and disrespectful. Then there are places like museums and art galleries where flash photography is often banned to protect delicate artifacts and paintings from damage. And finally, there's the issue of privacy. So put those zoom lenses away and focus on capturing the beauty of Japan with respect and sensitivity. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this video gave you a good laugh and some helpful insights into the do's and don'ts of Japan. Remember guys, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. And when in Japan, respect the rules, be mindful of the culture, and you'll have an amazing time. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating insights into cultures around the world. See you next time.